Hello and welcome. This is Dr. Rasmussen, a continuation of Chapter 7, as you guessed it. In this talk, I'm going to go over the humanistic approaches to development. So humanistic, what is it? Well, we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about Erik Erikson. Don't get confused. Erik Erikson with Leif Erikson, who potentially discovered America. Also, we're going to talk about Abraham Maslow, another humanistic psychologist. Don't get him confused with Moses. I don't know why you get him confused with Moses, but Abraham Maslow developed the 5 parts of the hierarchy of need pyramid, and Moses developed the 10 commandments. I don't know. They're similar but a little different. Both appeared in the Bible, Abraham and Moses. Don't get them confused. Alright, this is what we're going to do. Let's get started. Humanistic, come on. Is humanistic human-like? No, it's not. Don't think humanistic is like, that's like a droid. Yeah, I love humanistic people. Or, humanistic things, they freak me out. No, it's not, okay? It's not like Ex Machina either. Oh, if you haven't seen it, freaking fantastic movie, okay? You need to watch it. A little inappropriate. Don't watch it with the kids, okay? But Ex Machina, solid movie. It'll get you a deeper appreciation for artificial intelligence. It'll probably actually give you a deeper appreciation for Hollywood as well. Really good movie. It'll make you think a little bit too, which is always a good thing. But humanistic is not human-like. It's not droid-like. It's not anything like. It's humanistic is actually dealing with people and the good side of people, which Ex Machina doesn't really include too much of. Actually includes good things about people, just maybe not androids or droids themselves. Anyhow, let's get going here. Humanistic deals with people want to be all that they can be. They want to be the best that they can be, all right? And this all that a person wants to be is called self-actualization, living up to the individual's highest potential. Now, this humanistic view of psychology is a very optimistic view of people. Now, this strays away from the predecessor of psychoanalysis, psychodynamic psychology or therapy, in that people were very, very violent or aggressive. Okay, very, very pessimistic view of individuals. Okay, so the humanistic view starts to put the emphasis on people start to have a free will and they want to be as good as they can be. Now, so that's the humanistic view, and so both Erik Erikson and Abraham Maslow are going to put their ideas forward in that people try to achieve some sort of pinnacle. Okay, as you're going to see, both of these individuals, trajectories, their stages are going to move towards some sort of top point, a pinnacle. All right. So Erik Erikson here is he's just chilling. He's just pondering life's questions, the deepest life questions, like, dude, where do I get another bolo tie? I mean, this is the 70s and those things were popular in the 60s. Where do I buy one? Poor Erik Erikson. Yeah, I really hope people don't show a picture of Dr. Rasmussen in, the 2050, with his cheesy tie, and people will be making fun of him. Some community college professor will be ripping on him. Poor Dr. Rasmussen. Alright, so, Erik Erikson. Now, basically what he said is that people progress through stages. Alright, so what other developmental psychologist said that people are going to progress through stages? Bingo. Jean Piaget. Oh, another one too. Dr. Sigmund Freud. So these are 3 individuals who definitely made a lot of they were majorly influential for noting that people progress through stages. And these stages that they progress through, typically when they progress through it, once you move on to one stage, you don't really go back to the other stage. It's like once you've mastered that stage, you can move on to the next, and you never need to go back to it because you've mastered it. Okay? Now that could be totally one potential flaw in a lot of these stages, not so much Piaget's stage, because, really it's like once you get, if you haven't watched the PowerPoint yet, once you understand the conservation task, for the most part, you're not going to fail the conservation task as long as you completely understand it. You might have some problems here and there, but, overall, once you get it, you got the conservation task. So this is a stage. These are stages that an individual could potentially kind of go back and forth on, and definitely happens. Okay, but let's look at his stages here. Now, here is 8 stages, and this is what he had, all the way from infancy to around the age of 65. And don't you love these ages? It's like 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to about 3, 3 to 5. Okay, like everything is completely categorized. And so, these are the stages: trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame. Now, guys, girls, everyone, I could go through these, but guess what? Research does not find a lot of support for these stages. I've talked to other psychologists, and they can never, and I've never found many research journals, journal articles that find support for these. Fellow professors at CLC support these, and they're like, "Oh, I found textbooks on these," and I say, "Great, show me the actual empirical research to support that people actually go through these stages." It's really not, okay? These are good ideas of how people go through life, and some of these things might be true to some extent. But when you go through trust and mistrust, you're not getting trust and mistrust from 0 to 1.5. You're gaining trust versus mistrust pretty much your whole freaking life, okay? Sorry I had to add that, pseudo swear in there, but you really are, okay? You're learning to trust people your whole life, okay? Yeah, it's probably, a little bit more early on, but it does definitely happen for a large portion of your life, because just think about it, guys and girls. What happens if you start to trust people, and then guess what happens? When you're 14 years old, or 16 years old, you have your first relationship, okay? Think about that. First relationship with, a significant other. Say a boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is, whatever your sexual orientation is. Boom. Love that person. Okay? Your trust is built up because your parents were all there at 0 to 1.5. You have a great trust. But now that person cheats on you. Boom! You are immediately thrust right back in the phase where you cannot trust people. Okay? Wait, huh? What? No. Erik Erikson said trust versus mistrust develops from 0 to 1.5. But wait, now you're 14 and now you can't, or 14 or 16 and now you can't trust people? Okay, so this just shows you that you can totally go from all of these stages from one to the other. Once you pass one, you could potentially go back in one. Even though Erik Erikson said that you couldn't. If you want to read further about these, you can for sure. I'm not going to go over these in depth because you're not going to get tested on it. It's really something that in my entire schooling of psychology, from undergraduate to, master's to doctoral level, we never talked about. And I took a lot of, see, look, I'm already even skipping ahead. We never even talked about, okay, even in master's to doctoral level. And I took a lot of clinical as well as developmental psychology courses, and we rarely even talked about them. Actually, we didn't even talk about them. So think about them. You can know them. They might be important to an English class, but to me, that's just the history of psychology right here. All right, let's go on to Abraham Maslow. Now, Abraham Maslow actually is someone who I can get behind a little bit, all right? That's why I got his picture here. He's chilling, he's developing his little pyramid, his little hierarchy of needs. And actually, there is a little bit of support for his little hierarchy of needs here. So let's talk about Abraham Maslow a little bit. Now, Abraham Maslow basically noted that people kind of like... so think about Erik Erikson as, he developed these stages that people will go through on their life, okay? From 0 to 2 to 4 to 6 to 8, so on and so forth, these years, okay? Kind of like, Jean Piaget, kind of like, Dr. Sigmund Freud. Now, Abraham Maslow didn't say, all right, people are going to go through these ages and these stages, okay? They're going to go through these needs that they have, and they have to fulfill these needs before they can achieve the next section of their needs. So they have needs, and these needs need to be met before they can achieve the future goal, I guess you can say. All right. Now, the pinnacle is again this self-actualization. Actually, just like let's go back to Erik Erikson. This would be basically going to wisdom. All right. Basically, being at this point where you're understanding, you're okay with life, you're okay with yourself. All right. That's self-actualization. Now, going to Abraham Maslow. Here's yeah. Oh yeah. I must digress. Basically, be all you can be. Guys, you probably don't remember this, be all you can be. Be all you can be was a little slogan from the Army when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s of be all you can be. This basically epitomizes Abraham Maslow's view of an individual. Be all you can be. Self-actualization. If you're going to be a soldier, be the best goddamn soldier you can be. If you're going to be a parent who's rich as hell, sending their kid off to the war, be the best goddamn parent you're going to be. All right? So on and so forth. Now, again, it's Army Strong, or, back in the day it was Army of One, whatever it is. Hoorah! All right. Let's continue on, or hooah, whatever the Army's slogan is. All right, so here is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Starting out at the base, the physiological needs. These would be things that a person needs to survive, like air, water, sleep, clothing, things of that needs. Okay. Safety needs would be things that the individual doesn't necessarily need to survive, but they're going to need to survive over the long run. So employment, resources, personal security, also health. Okay. These are going to be things that after the physiological and safety are going to need to be fulfilled for the individual. These would be things that involve love and belonging, like a sense of belonging, like friendships, some sort of family, intimacy, okay? Some sort of personal, interconnections. Now we're moving on to esteem, as he noted. This would be involved with things like respect. You have like a self-esteem for yourself. You believe you can get it done. So that would be like locus of control, right? I think we talked about locus of control possibly in the personality chapter. You believe you can get it done. You have this strength for yourself. And then now you're getting the self-actualization. Now this is this basic desire to become the most that one can be, the best that one can be. So if you're going to just be a grandparent, you're going to be the best gosh darn grandparent you can be. Again, if you're going to be, whatever, you're going to be the best you can be, okay? And if you want to be the best that you can be, like, LeBron James wanted to be the best basketball player there is. Now, little did you know there was another predecessor called Michael Jordan, okay? Some might argue Kobe Bryant. I don't know about that. Michael Jordan, definitely, hands down. So LeBron James thinks he's coming around, but before LeBron James, almost said LeBron James, you need to, before LeBron James can be the best he can be, LeBron James needs to achieve these different points. Physiological, safety, love, esteem, so on and so forth, before he can be the best that he can be. That's what Abraham Maslow would say. Now, again, you're probably like, Dr. Rasmussen, come on, man. LeBron James can be the best that he can be, even though he might not be in a safe area. And I'd be like, well, I think you're right. That's possible. He might not be completely safe, and he could still be the best he could be. And Abraham Maslow would be like, no, that's not how the pyramid is approaching. Well, no, it's not. But some of this actually has been found to, some of his hierarchy of needs have actually been found to support. What research has found. Not all, though. Okay, so basically, if an individual comes to school and, you want that individual to be the best student they can be, now typically, an individual is going to need to have some food in them, but they could be in a dangerous area and not feel safe, but they could still be a really, really great student, and they could start to, reach up to this self-actualization. Now, typically, it would be better if they had safety, if they, felt love and belonging, even if they had some self-esteem, then they can start reaching up to their, full potential. These are just things to consider, especially if you're in some sort of, teaching or education class. Okay, that's oftentimes where Maslow's hierarchy of needs comes in. So let me talk a little bit about some research here. Okay, so a Gallup poll in 2005, 2010, hundreds of individuals over 155 different countries. Okay, these are researchers. Particular researcher. Down in the Champaign-Urbana, the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, U of I, conducted this research. He's part of the Gallup study, the Gallup World Poll, very famous and popular polling surveying agency. What they found is actually they looked at participants' data on many different data points, looking at like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how happy these individuals were. And what the researchers found is that they found that the fulfillment of more basic needs, these basic needs was for food, money, and shelter, was more closely linked to positive life evaluations. So when people had these basic needs, money, food, and shelter, they basically rated their lives as more positive. Okay, cool. So that's great. So if people have money, food, and shelter, that's great. That's like just enough, and they rate their lives as positive. Now, that's different, though, than potentially really enjoying yourself. So the satisfaction of higher needs, so this is like social support, respect, autonomy, and mastery. So if you go back, that would be like, love, mastery, esteem, things like that. Maybe even getting a self-actualization. Those were more strongly related to enjoying life. So one is just, being like, all right, life is all right. The other, the second one, the satisfaction of higher needs, are more related potentially to, oh man, not life is just all right. Dude, I'm loving life. I'm living the dream. Oh my God, sorry. I cannot stand when people say that. I'm living the dream. Can't stand that. So please don't come into class and say, what up, doctor? I'm just living the dream. I'm going to say, great, good for you. Live your dream by sitting yourself down and opening up your textbook there, good sir. So having more positive feelings and less negative feelings. So these people typically have more positive feelings about themselves and they have less negative feelings. So it's kind of cool that actually there is some support. My goodness, it really wants me to get done here. Really some nice support that these safety and physiological needs might be there. Just at like this bottom level to say, okay, yeah, life's all right. I'm just going through and I'm all right. But these love, esteem, self-actualization, if those are met, potentially, the individual is more happy and actually reports, less, negative beliefs about their life. So there is a little bit of evidence for Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Is it all true? No, absolutely not. But there is a little bit of evidence for his hierarchy of needs, which is actually really cool. So guys, girls, I really hope this has been helpful. The humanistic, again, is not human-like. It is an approach that is different than psychoanalysis. This is basically saying that people are good by nature and that they try to reach their full potential. Erik Erikson developed 8 stages that an individual will traverse through, all the way from 0 to 65 years of age. And Abraham Maslow developed the hierarchy of needs, where an individual has needs, and before you can meet the next need, you have to, before you can even attain the next need, you have to meet and achieve and pass the first need. So I hope this has been helpful. Humanistic, Erik Erikson, and Abraham Maslow. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see y'all later. Thanks.